Chapter 1737, A Bewitching Melody, 2, but there was no time for her to let her guard down. A huge shadow passed in front of them. The troll had somehow managed to get in front of them. Damn it, this troll isn't stupid at all, it knows how to take a detour. They had finally escaped the fish-like monster only to be greeted by the troll again. The little white tiger's heart was pounding hard. Trolls have the ability to escape by burrowing into the ground where they move faster than most creatures. It has an exceptional sense of smell and already has its sights set on us. Even if we escape, it's only going to keep following us and bide its time. Enchanting sighed as she looked at the troll in front of her. Once a troll had its sights set on its prey, it would never stop until it had killed it. No matter how far apart they were, it would continue hunting it down until it knew that its prey was no longer in existence. So what do we do? Little White Tiger asked. We can only fight. Enchanting sighed again. She lowered her head to look at the little heavenly demon. Not knowing whether it could even understand her, she said, look at him and roar again. With that, Enchanting mimicked shouting in the troll's direction. The little heavenly demon tilted its head and looked at Enchanting, a look of confusion on its face. Having gotten its attention, Enchanting took a fruit out of her space ring. Greedy little eyes immediately lit up as it reached out to grab the fruit. But Enchanting didn't give the fruit to it. She pointed to the troll and then at the little heavenly monster again. The little heavenly demon blinked at her before turning its eyes on the troll. In the next second, the bewitching melody came out of its mouth again. The troll froze again, a dazed expression on its face. It was now or never. Enchanting narrowed her eyes and stuffed the fruit into the little heavenly demon's hands. The both of them flew up into the sky rapidly as black flames trailed behind her. She unsheathed the sword from her waist. As the black flames engulfed it, it transformed into the black flame sword which was a few meters long. Enchanting raised the black flame sword as black flames surrounded her, and she flew quickly towards the black troll. Moving quickly around the troll, the black flame sword sliced into it again and again. But the skin of the troll was extremely thick and all Enchanting managed to do was leave black marks on the troll. She couldn't do any damage at all. After a few breaths, the effect of the bewitching melody on the troll finally wore off and the troll's eyes were clear and bright again. Looking at the black marks on its body, it let out an angry roar, raised its hands and grabbed at Enchanting who was flying around it. Enchanting quickly flew away and dodged as she pulled a bag of fruits out of her space ring and threw it to Little White Tiger. Little White Tiger didn't understand Enchanting's intentions. It grabbed the bag of fruit with its mouth and took a few out with its paw, throwing them behind him. The little heavenly demon looked at the raining fruits, opened its mouth and let out the bewitching melody again. Once again, the troll that was about to grab Enchanting froze. Seizing this opportunity, Enchanting turned into a whirlwind of flames, the black flame sword in her hands turning into a sharp wheel, spinning arcs around with her. In a fluid motion, she sliced straight down the troll's arm. Chapter 1738, A Bewitching Melody, 3, A loud clang rang out. No matter how many times Enchanting tried, she could not penetrate the troll's defense. Even so, Enchanting was becoming increasingly calm. She had no idea whether little heavenly demon's bewitching melody had a limit to it. Enchanting didn't dare to waste a single second. Her attention was suddenly focused on the troll's huge eyes. Little White Tiger. Enchanting suddenly called out. Understanding immediately what was asked, Little White Tiger immediately took out another fruit and tossed it to Little Heavenly Demon. Carrying the fruit, Little Heavenly Demon continued to hum its bewitching melody. But this time, its voice was significantly softer. Enchanting could instinctively tell that the little heavenly demon was too young to be able to use its bewitching melody too many times. She immediately stepped off the troll's arm and flew to the top of its head. With her black flame sword in hand, she viciously stabbed the troll's wide-open right eye. The sword instantly pierced into the troll's eyeball. The intense pain caused the troll to snap out of its trance. It gave an ear-piercing howl as it raised its hand toward its own eye. This was her last chance. Watching as the troll raised its huge palm, Enchanting drew out her sword and flipped over to stab the troll's other eye. Thick, viscous fluid spurted out of the wound. Enchanting drove the entire sword right into the eyeball before leaping away. She managed to escape right before the troll's huge palm smacked down. Earth-shattering howls erupted continuously from the troll. The moment Enchanting landed on the ground, she conjured a roaring black fire with her bare hands and directed a steady stream of dark flames straight towards the sword embedded in the troll's eyes. Being channeled through the sword, the flames spread throughout the troll's body from within. The troll's most challenging factor was its iron-cast skin. No weapon was able to penetrate it. But if the attack came from within, that tough skin was no protection at all. The troll emitted gut-wrenching shrieks the moment the black flames entered its body. Balls of dark fire spurted out of the troll's orifices. Black flames spurted out of its eyes, ears, mouth and nose. That immense body swayed side to side, and after a long time, the troll suddenly collapsed on the ground. There were no visible wounds on its body, but its eyeballs had already been burned away, leaving two huge empty sockets. The flames continued to rage within those sockets, looking very freaky and deranged. "You killed the troll." Little White Tiger flew down and stared at Enchanting in amazement. Shoulders heaving from the adrenaline, Enchanting panted as she stared at the dead troll. She was also astonished. She had killed a troll. It must be pointed out that any one of these things could single-handedly destroy not just a country but a whole continent. Enchanting suddenly turned to look somewhere behind Little White Tiger. Having finished eating a whole bag of fruit, Little Heavenly Demon was obediently sitting on Little White Tiger's back. It gazed at Enchanting with a tilted head. Enchanting's expression softened. If not for Little Heavenly Demon, she and Little White Tiger would have been no match for the troll. "Thanks, little fellow." Enchanting reached out and stroked Little Heavenly Demon's head. Little Heavenly Demon blinked as it continued to stare at Enchanting's space ring, which it knew was filled with food. This greedy little creature. Chapter 1739, Looking for Food. 1. The troll was dead, but that evil stench still permeated the air. In fact, the stench became even more intense after the troll was burned by the black fire. Enchanting didn't dare to linger around. Although she had killed the troll, there were still many other monsters in this mystic realm. That jade-like creature they saw earlier was several times stronger than this troll. Now that Little Heavenly Demon's bewitching melody was losing its effectiveness, they would be in danger again if they encountered other monsters. Bringing along this Little Heavenly Demon was like having a protection amulet. However, this little fellow was way too greedy. Perhaps it had expended a lot of energy when using the bewitching melody, but the Little Heavenly Demon's desire for food was even more intense now. Even though Enchanting had stored a lot of food in her space ring, her supply would soon run out given the Little Heavenly Demon's endless gobbling. But Enchanting couldn't bear it whenever she saw Little Heavenly Demon's piteous face. She would rather go hungry and feed the young fellow instead. It was lucky that Little White Tiger did not need to eat. But it felt rather exasperated at Little Heavenly Demon's greediness. How in the world did the Heavenly Demons produce such a glutton? As her food supply started to run out, Enchanting stopped eating for several days. She would eat some snow whenever she felt hungry, while the rest of the food was all given to Little Heavenly Demon. "I say, do you really need to give everything to it? You haven't fully recovered yet." Little White Tiger shook out its fur and grumbled as it watched Little Heavenly Demon swallow Yi Qingtang's last pack of field rations. Thereafter, Little Heavenly Demon continued to look unsatisfied and hustled over to Yi Qingtang, wagging its tail. Yi Qingtang chuckled in exasperation. She had no choice. Her heart melted every time she looked at Little Heavenly Demon's pitiful, begging face. She couldn't resist leaving all the food for it. But to be honest, Yi Qingtang was truly starving. Her body was still recovering, but she had only consumed snow the past few days. Given her abilities, she could have gone a month without eating for drinking outside this realm. But the amount of energy she had to expend in the mystic realm was tremendous. She would suffer from hunger pangs after just 2 to 3 days without food. Luckily they had Little Heavenly Demon for protection during this journey. It meant that they encountered much fewer monsters. Otherwise, they would have had a much harder time surviving. Little Heavenly Demon continued to gaze at Yi Qingtang with sparkling, teary eyes. That last pack of field rations was just a small snack for it. It was still extremely hungry. I really have no more food. Yi Qingtang sighed softly. Little Heavenly Demon tilted its head in confusion. Having waited for a long while without getting any food, it hugged its own tail in a forlorn manner and gazed pathetically at Yi Qingtang. The word hunger was written all over its tiny face. Yi Qingtang's head started to ache. This little fellow's appetite was just too big. The food inside her space ring could have lasted her at least a year. But it had now been completely devoured by Little Heavenly Demon in just a few days. What should she do? Without food, Little Heavenly Demon was instantly despondent and listless. It sprawled lethargically in Yi Qingtang's arms all day, its wide eyes quietly surveying the surroundings. The moment it spied some icicles on those ice trees, it gave an involuntary gulp before dashing over to chew on it, causing its little milk teeth to ache from the cold. Holding its frozen cheeks, Little Heavenly Demon gazed miserably at Yi Qingtang. Chapter 1740, Looking for Food, 2. As she looked at the little fellow's pitiful state and felt the rumbling of her own empty stomach, Yi Qingtang suddenly had an idea. She had Little White Tiger shrink back down in size, then carried the two creatures into a patch of ice forest in front of them. Silence enveloped the ice forest. Yi Qingtang searched for a long while before finally spotting a slumbering ice beast beside a frozen lake. That ice beast was over a dozen meters tall and snored so loudly that the ground nearby trembled. Yi Qingtang brought Little Heavenly Demon and Little White Tiger over to the side. She continued to observe that ice beast. Don't tell me, you want to. Little White Tiger suddenly realized what Yi Qingtang was planning to do. It widened its eyes in shock. Yi Qingtang must be mad. What else can we do? Just continue to starve. Yi Qingtang was left with no choice either. When did you become such a daredevil? Little White Tiger sighed and shook its head. Previously, they tried their best to avoid the monsters in this mystic realm, but now, Yi Qingtang was planning to eat one of them. The desire for food was truly irrepressible. Yi Qingtang pointed at the ice beast. For eating. Having spent some time together, Little Heavenly Demon could more or less understand what Yi Qingtang tried to say to it. Although it still didn't understand most of her words, it understood certain key phrases. Especially the word eat. This word. The moment Little Heavenly Demon heard the word eat, it immediately perked up and stared at the ice beast with sparkling eyes. Baring its sharp little teeth and making guttural noises, it immediately wanted to charge toward that ice beast. But it was dragged back by the tail by Yi Qingtang. Little Heavenly Demon looked very aggrieved at being dragged back. Wasn't it for eating? Drool had already accumulated at the corners of its lips. You must bewitch it before you can eat it. Enchanting stared at the little heavenly demon in amusement. That ice beast was no weakling. It was at least a paragon level. In normal circumstances, Enchanting would have immediately turned and left if she saw such a monster, but now, both she and little heavenly demon were going crazy with hunger. If they didn't find something to eat soon, she was worried that the little heavenly demon might swallow little white tiger and her whole. In fact, after enduring several days of hunger, little heavenly demon had already been observing little white tiger with glittery eyes. Little heavenly demon stared at Enchanting in confusion. It finally stopped struggling after some time. Enchanting saw that it seemed to understand. She had little white tiger wait by the side, while she brought the little heavenly demon over to hunt. In case the little heavenly demon didn't understand her plan, little white tiger could immediately scurry over and carry them away. After making all the proper preparations, Enchanting carried the little heavenly demon over to that sleeping ice beast. If not for the little heavenly demon beside her, Enchanting would never dream of doing something so insane just for a bit of food. A fourth heaven of the heavenly venerate realm human bold enough to provoke a paragon-level monster. Wasn't she just seeking death? Slowly but surely, Enchanting approached the slumbering monster. Then she placed little heavenly demon under a tree while she went nearer by herself. Little heavenly demon didn't know what Enchanting wanted to do. All it could think about was how to swallow that huge creature in front of it. The ice beast seemed to detect Enchanting's presence. It suddenly opened those big eyes which immediately locked upon her. With an almighty roar, the ice beast scrambled to its feet and charged toward Enchanting. Chapter 1741, Looking for Food, 3, Bewitch It. Enchanting ordered. Little heavenly demon was momentarily startled, before opening its mouth and emitting its bewitching melody. The moment that bewitching melody played out, the gigantic ice beast seemed to have been stopped by some hidden force. It stood there unmoving, its huge eyes filled with enchantment. Taking advantage of this moment, Enchanting raised her sword and focused all her energy onto her shimmering blade. The sword energy shot out in an arc right toward the soft belly region of that ice beast. Fresh blood gushed out as a huge wound appeared across that ice beast's belly. The intense pain caused the ice beast to snap out of its trance. Its head snapped towards Enchanting with bloodshot eyes and howled viciously before charging toward her. Little heavenly demon instinctively emitted its bewitching melody again when it saw the ice beast attacking Enchanting. The raging ice beast once again fell into a trance. Enchanting immediately hacked away at the ice beast's belly, finally splitting it open. Having sustained such grave injuries, the ice beast could no longer rally and collapsed in a pool of blood. Up till its very last breath, it was probably still confused as to how it died at the hands of a weak little human. Heaving a sigh of relief, Enchanting felt her shoulders sag the moment the ice beast collapsed. But before she could move a single step, little heavenly demon had already pounced happily toward the ice beast's dead body. It grabbed onto the beast's large paws and started chewing on it. Pfft! Little heavenly demon immediately spat out the first mouthful, then wiped its own mouth in disgust. Too! This tasted so gross. Enchanting couldn't help chuckling as she watched the disdainful little heavenly demon who looked like it had eaten something poisonous. Silly little thing. How hungry are you to just bite into it like that? The ice beast had very thick skin and tough flesh. Little heavenly demon's tiny milk teeth probably just managed to scrape off a layer of dead skin. That must have tasted terrible. Little heavenly demon looked extremely upset, as if it had been deceived. This thing was totally inedible. Amused, Enchanting set little heavenly demon aside. Making use of her sword, she carved off the ice beast's thick skin and then sliced off a piece of the soft flesh underneath. She then ignited a black flame on her palm and started roasting the flesh. Little Heavenly Demon's expression was full of disdain. But as the smell of roasting meat slowly reached its little nose, its eyes suddenly brightened. After seeing that the meat was nearly done, Enchanting tried a bite. It was very delicious with none of the pungent taste of blood. This was even more delicious than she expected. Could it be that her black flame added flavor to the food? Enchanting didn't dwell too much on it. She held out a piping hot piece of meat to Little Heavenly Demon's mouth. After being deceived before, Little Heavenly Demon was still hesitant. That earlier disgusting taste still lingered in its mouth. But the delicious smell of roasted meat tempted it, making it inch closer. It had already been several days and Little Heavenly Demon was already starving after gobbling up all of the rations. In the end, it just shut its eyes and bravely took a bite. Little Heavenly Demon immediately opened its eyes wide, which sparkled like starlight. Holding its tiny paws to its cheeks filled with meat, it looked like it was about to float up to heaven in bliss. Before meeting Enchanting, Little Heavenly Demon had not much to eat at all. It was already very satisfied by the dried rations she had provided earlier. But this freshly roasted meat was warm and fragrant. It instantly opened its eyes to a whole new world. Delicious. Chapter 1742, Looking for Food. 4. Little Heavenly Demon finished up the piece of meat in 2 bites. After that, it ran over to the dead ice beast. Copying Enchanting's earlier actions, it peeled off the skin of the beast's entire arm. It then looked expectantly at Enchanting. Ah-ooh. Ah-oh. It patted the exposed flesh excitedly. Who? It wanted Enchanting to roast this entire arm. Amused, Enchanting picked Little Heavenly Demon up before ejecting a stream of black flame toward the ice beast's body, roasting it through and through. Before long, the strong smell of roasted meat permeated the air. The back of Enchanting's hand was dripping with drool from Little Heavenly Demon. Before Enchanting let go of it, Little Heavenly Demon threw itself onto the freshly roasted ice beast and started feasting away with no shame. Meanwhile, Little White Tiger strode over and was flabbergasted by the sight of Little Heavenly Demon completely immersed in the joy of eating. Its own parents would probably crush it to death if they saw this. It was the first time that Little White Tiger had seen such an unworldly Heavenly Demon. Enchanting chuckled before carving out a piece of meat for herself. Little White Tiger was not hungry, but enticed by Little Heavenly Demon's lusty enjoyment, it also tried a few bites. Damn, it really tasted pretty good. I realize now that you have the makings of a great chef. Little White Tiger made sure to praise Enchanting. The corners of Enchanting's lips twitched slightly. That ice beast was over a dozen meters tall, and if it was only Enchanting, she would take over a year to finish the entire thing. But the pint-sized Little Heavenly Demon managed to gnaw the ice beast down to the bone. It didn't waste even the tiniest scrap of flesh. Once again, Little White Tiger was bewildered by its voracious appetite. It truly was a bottomless pit. Little Heavenly Demon had its eyes opened to a whole new world of gastronomy. It suddenly discovered that those disgusting monsters which it used to consume could turn into delicious food by Enchanting's black flame, and gazed at Enchanting in newfound adoration. Having known the taste of delicious food, Little Heavenly Demon's desire for such delicacies intensified. So much so that, when night fell and Enchanting lit a bonfire, Little Heavenly Demon tried to drag Little White Tiger by the tail over to the fire. It looked like it was planning to roast Little White Tiger to eat. Little White Tiger was incensed. Was this glutton really going to eat it? On the other hand, Enchanting was thoroughly amused. The arrival of Little Heavenly Demon had brought her a sliver of joy even in this terrifying mystic realm. But to guard against Little Heavenly Demon gobbling Little White Tiger up, Enchanting would spend some time looking for food as they hurried along their journey. If they encountered extremely powerful monsters, they would take a detour to avoid it, or else make use of little heavenly demons' bewitching melody to escape. If they met some less powerful monsters, they would try their luck to kill it and roast its meat for food. They ate so much that little heavenly demon's belly started to protrude. Little heavenly demon's greatest joy each day was to find traces of monsters in the snowy landscape. Having just eaten its fill, little heavenly demon sprawled lazily in Enchanting's arms, snoring softly. They had been journeying for a long time and they were now someplace where all was completely quiet. Nevertheless, Enchanting suddenly heard the sound of trickling water nearby. How can there be the sound of trickling water? Enchanting couldn't help feeling suspicious. It must be pointed out that all liquids would have instantly froze in the frozen ice fields. She had yet to see any signs of a water source since arriving here. Chapter 1743, A Stunningly Gorgeous Woman, 1, Enchanting and Little White Tiger walked over in the direction of the water sounds. After traveling several meters, they discovered one long, gigantic crack on the icy surface. It looked completely natural and the flowing water glimmered, showing no signs of frost at all. How is it possible for there to be a river here? Enchanting gave a slight frown. Before she could ponder this puzzle further, a clear melody drifted into her ears. Enchanting turned toward the sound and saw a slender figure sitting on the opposite bank of the river. The woman was dressed in pale blue and had an exquisite figure. Seated with her back facing the water, her hair was jet black and the ends of it trailed in the water. There were plenty of beautiful women in this world and Enchanting had seen more than her fair share. But none were as exceptional as the back profile of this lady. Some women were pretty only because they were well-groomed. Some women were beautiful because they had great bone structure. That lattice back profile alone was utterly gorgeous. Just one glance left an indelible impression. A gentle, harmonious tune drifted over from that lady. It sounded elegant and refined, but also cheerful and upbeat. Every single note was full of unbridled joy. Just that voice alone was enough to make one forget about being in such a dangerous place. One could not help but smile at that melodious voice. Enchanting was astonished but didn't step forward. Too many bizarre things had happened in this mystic realm. How could she forget Sang Feiyu, who became a tormented plaything for some ice vines? Neither did she forget the resentful Qin Mo. Enchanting just stood there quietly watching the lattice back profile and listening to her wondrous singing. The sounds of trickling water accompanied that song, echoing across the endless ice fields. Suddenly, the song came to a pause, and the lady by the lake slowly turned her head. Just her side profile was enough to leave Enchanting completely dumbstruck. Even a female like Enchanting couldn't help being astounded by that face. It was just a side view but already gorgeous beyond belief. The corner of the woman's eye tilted pleasantly as if she was smiling. That fair, jade-like hand brushed gently across the surface of the river. The slight upward curl of those lips looked like it harbored all the joy in the world. Enchanting's heart quivered. She was no monster. She subconsciously moved toward that woman, hoping to ask about this place. But before Enchanting could get near to the river, the gorgeous lady suddenly disappeared without a trace. It was like she had never existed. Did you see that just now? Enchanting turned to ask Little White Tiger. Little White Tiger nodded. Enchanting was full of suspicion. How did that woman disappear right in front of her? Once again, Enchanting surveyed her surroundings. Apart from an ice mountain range nearby, there were no other geographic features. It was almost as if she had seen an illusion. It was like it never existed. Could it be there were illusions in this mystic realm? But that voice sounded very real. Nevertheless, Enchanting decided not to pursue it. There were too many strange things in this mystic realm. She instinctively felt that there were some things which one should not be overly curious about. Just as Enchanting was about to carry little heavenly demon and little white tiger across the river and continue their journey, that singing voice once again drifted over from the nearby ice mountain range. Chapter 1744. A stunningly gorgeous woman, too, with a slight frown marring her features, Enchanting tried searching for the singing voice with the little white tiger and little heavenly demon. But once Enchanting was at the bottom of the iceberg, the joyful tune suddenly morphed into something twisted and dark. All the joy was instantly replaced with sorrow and darkness. The song was full of evil and made them feel as though they were breaking. They could hear notes of sadness intertwined with the melody. Listening to the song, Enchanting's mind buzzed and trembled, as though the sorrow from the song had been infused into her heart, twisting her soul bit by bit. Black clouds covered the once cloudless sky as the song went on and the gentle blowing of the wind gradually became grating. The temperature around them seemed to keep dropping as well. It had already been a bone-chilling cold and at this point, seemed to have reached the extremities of what was possible. Enchanting felt as though her body warmth had been completely robbed by the wind. Even little white tiger, which hadn't been feeling cold at all, was shivering. Damn it, is this woman a snow demon? Little white tiger couldn't help but exclaim as it looked at the snow which was suddenly filling the sky. Enchanting frowned slightly but knew clearly in her heart that this woman was no ordinary snow demon. As the song got darker and darker, their surroundings were gradually buried in the snowstorm. The glacier was quickly blanketed in snow. Little white tiger quickly transformed into a full-grown tiger, scooped Enchanting and little heavenly demon up into his mouth and took to the skies. They would be swallowed by the snowstorm if they waited here any longer. Their sight was extremely hampered by the snowstorm and little white tiger could only try to keep his composure in the mighty storm. Even within the snowstorm, they seemed to hear the woman laughing evilly. The snowstorm went on for a long time and the woman's voice eventually faded. Until the snowstorm subsided, their surroundings would continue to be covered in a thick layer of snow. Now the river had vanished, and the iceberg had been swallowed as well. All that was left were snowy mountains crossing over each other. The surroundings were eerily quiet. There were no sounds of the wind or the woman singing at all, it was as though none of that had happened. The snow was pure white, not a single flaw on it. We should think of ways to leave this place as soon as possible. I feel like we'll end up like those powerful men of the past from the second domain if we remain in this mystic realm, little white tiger said. Enchanting nodded and suppressed her doubts as they rushed on. Looking at the mountains getting smaller in the distance, Enchanting subconsciously thought about the singing voice of that woman, as though she was still entranced. After walking for a long time, the temperature around them started rising. Enchanting had a feeling that they were getting out of this place, as the ice mountains around them lessened and valleys and hills appeared once again. The bone-piercing cold slowly faded as well. Enchanting walked in the direction of the rising temperature and before long, a valley appeared in front of their eyes. If she was right, they would be able to leave this place after passing through this valley. Chapter 1745. The Strange Mountain Valley, 1. Since she had no idea what the place in front would have in store for them, Enchanting decided to bring little heavenly demon and little white tiger for a hunt first. After little heavenly demon had killed a few weaker monsters, Enchanting offered a portion of their flesh to it after she cooked the rest with her black flame and stored them in her space ring. It was better to be prepared in case they needed it later. Their main concern was that little heavenly demon was going to eat little white tiger if it got too desperately hungry. After they had prepared thoroughly, Enchanting brought the two of them to the valley which was warming up. But the moment Enchanting stepped into the valley, a thick demonic aura hit them and surrounded the entire valley. The valley had looked so bright from the outside, but now that they were inside it was slightly dark and blurry. Not only that, there was also a nauseating stench of evil to go with the demonic aura. At the entrance of the valley, Enchanting felt as though she had entered another world. The temperature here wasn't cold, but their surroundings were extremely strange. There were many plants growing on the mountains on both sides, but their leaves were dark purple and green. Enchanting kept her guard up. Even though it was a demonic aura as well, the aura from Little Heavenly Demon and this place felt vastly different. It was clear that Little Heavenly Demon was being affected by the demonic aura as well. Previously it had been very lively, but was now extremely drowsy, and it lay in Enchanting's arms, fast asleep. Enchanting tried waking it up, but Little Heavenly Demon had no reaction at all and remained in a stupor. This place is a little odd. Little White Tiger scrunched its nose up. Its sense of smell had always been sensitive, and the demonic aura and stench of evil in this valley was torturous to him. Enchanting sensed something off about the valley as well, but as she took a look around she realized that apart from the sole road in the valley, there were no other roads to be seen. The mountains walled them off from any other paths. As for the sky above, it was covered in dark clouds as thunder rumbled ominously. They could see lightning flash past from time to time. Little stones rained from above as lightning struck the boulders. It would be even more dangerous for them to ignore this route and cross the mountains from above. We can only try. Enchanting took a deep breath. She felt extremely pessimistic about this place but could not act on her suspicions if she wanted to leave this place as quickly as possible. They were left with no choice. Enchanting was extra cautious as Little Heavenly Demon was still sleeping. Before they had even traveled far into the valley, Enchanting noticed big puddles of dark purple fluid on the ground under them. The dark purple fluid was as thick as glue, and it stained the entire ground a strange color as it let out a revolting smell. What is this? Enchanting walked over to the puddle and could vaguely make out some flesh and bones in it. It looks like the blood of some creature, Little White Tiger said as it sniffed the puddle. Chapter 1746, The Strange Mountain Valley, 2. Enchanting's heart sank right to the bottom at Little White Tiger's words. There were not many creatures who possessed purple blood. And for the ones that did, every single one of them were terrifying beings. Enchanting had no desire to encounter any one of them here. Furthermore, as she looked at the bits of flesh and broken bones, Enchanting couldn't help thinking of another creature who also possessed purple blood and exuded a demon aura. There would be great trouble if those deductions were correct. Although she was unable to ascertain whether her suspicions were right, even if they were proven accurate, she had no choice but to push on. There was only one way out of the frozen ice fields. If she gave up now, she would never ever leave this mystic realm. Left with no other choice, Enchanting kept her chin up and walked into the inner region of the mountain valley with Little Heavenly Demon and Little White Tiger. The further they ventured, the stronger the demonic aura became. Previously, the unconscious Little Heavenly Demon would still wag its tail now and then, but now, it was lying totally still in her arms. Her suspicions grew increasingly stronger. Enchanting discovered many more large patches of purple blood, as if there had been an attempt to dye the entire mountain valley purple. But the strangest thing was that despite all that blood, Enchanting had yet to see a single corpse. Apart from those bits of flesh and broken bones, she had not seen any other remains. Those corpses seemed to have been wiped out by something. Enchanting suddenly heard sounds of fighting coming from afar. She immediately took out a bottle of elixir which could mask one's aura and ingested it. Carrying Little White Tiger, she headed toward the source of the noise. Not far off inside the valley, a bloody scene straight from hell appeared. Large patches of thick, fresh purple blood were splashed everywhere, so much so that the earth beneath Enchanting's feet was damp and sticky. This time, Enchanting finally saw the source of all that blood. A swarm of humanoid monsters with malevolent and twisted faces were engaged in a ferocious battle. Those monsters were mostly hunchbacked and their hind legs were bent backwards in the way of beasts. Their skin was dark brown in color and they had wide jaws filled with sharp teeth, as they roared viciously. "Those are fiendish demons." Enchanting stared at the battling monsters. A buzzing sound filled her head. Fiendish demons were a type of demon which existed in ancient times. Legend had it that every single fiendish demon possessed an emperor-level amount of power. Bloodthirsty and vicious, they loved nothing more than fighting and killing. They also had the habit of killing each other. Powerful fiendish demons could gain strength by swallowing their own kind. Enchanting already suspected that those purple blood, bits of flesh and crushed bones belonged to fiendish demons. But she was not entirely certain as she had never seen a real fiendish demon before. There were no such creatures inside the first domain. It was only after entering the second domain in her previous life that Enchanting happened to overhear someone talking about fiendish demons. Enchanting never expected there to be so many fiendish demons inside the mystic realm. What kind of place was this? The group of fiendish demons had yet to discover Enchanting's presence. There were two opposing sides engaged in a fierce battle with countless defeated demons being felled to the ground. Fresh purple blood spurted out in all directions and the evil stench that permeated the air was revolting. Chapter 1747, The Strange Mountain Valley, 3, Enchanting hid in the shadows, observing the whole scene. Although fiendish demons had some physical similarities to humans, their skin and flesh were exceptionally hard and tough. Even the sharpest blades forged from top-grade metals would not be able to cause a single scratch. Legend had it that when a fighter who was emperor level and below encountered a fiendish demon, the only thing that he could do was run. There was no chance he could win a fight against a fiendish demon. But somehow, that tough skin appeared weak and vulnerable against their own kind, easily torn apart by those razor-sharp fangs and claws. Enchanting stared with pensive eyes as a large fiendish demon slashed another demon right in half with just one swipe. Even the bones inside were chopped in half. The sight of it made her shiver. When she was in the second domain, Enchanting had once seen a dagger made from the bones of a fiendish demon at an auction. That dagger cut through metal like it was soft mud, hard and indestructible. Today, she had truly seen it all. The large fiendish demon bit into its opponent's head viciously and tore it right off as it started to consume it with relish. Fresh blood and brain matter splattered everywhere. The large fiendish demon boldly ate its prize as it fixed the demons on the opposing side with a challenging glare. In response, the fiendish demons on the opposing side roared angrily. Thereafter, they actually picked up the corpses of their own comrades and started to eat them too. The behavior of these creatures were completely incomprehensible to humans. They were comrades just a second ago, but in the next moment, they had become just another source of sustenance. Sounds of flesh and bones being chewed drifted into Enchanting's ears. She couldn't help breaking out in goosebumps all over. Taking advantage of the fact that the fiendish demons were still engrossed in their battle, Enchanting quickly carried Little White Tiger and Little Heavenly Demon and scurried off. This type of battle was not something she could take part in. Even if she just stood by and watched, she would be dead meat if they discovered her. On top of that, her status as a human would only result in dire consequences for her. But the further she progressed, the more fiendish demons appeared. The entire valley was occupied by their battle. Countless bits of demon flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Large groups of fiendish demons gathered over piles of their own dead, gorging themselves relentlessly on the flesh. Some of the demons were not even dead yet. Gravely injured, they watched helplessly as their own comrades feasted on their bodies. Those gory scenes were disturbing, and constantly challenged Enchanting's mental state. All she could do was to swallow a bottle of elixir to mask her own aura and suppress her presence to the lowest level possible. Otherwise, she would probably suffer a much worse fate than those dismembered demons if she were discovered. Yikingtang's every step inside the mountain valley was made very carefully. At long last, she finally managed to leave the fiendish demon battlefield behind. Heaving a sigh of relief, she suddenly saw a familiar figure standing beside a nearby waterfall. Covered in blood, Qiu Chen was squatting by the waterfall and using the water to clean himself. Qiu Chen. Yikingtang's heart gave a jolt. Qiu Chen was also one of the people who had entered the mystic realm with her. But they had lost track of each other after the attack by the Ice King. It seemed like an age ago. After witnessing the wretched fates of Sang Feiyu and the rest, Yikingtang didn't immediately rush forward, but hid at the side to quietly observe Qiu Chen's movements. Chapter 1748, Fiendish Demon 1. Qiu Chen had not detected Yikingtang's presence yet. He just crouched by the waterfall, quietly washing himself. The moment he stood up, a petite figure walked out from a small forest by the side. Yikingtang turned to look and was stunned. The person who had just emerged from those trees was Qiu Xi. Qiu Si's face was pale. She was dragging a large sack behind her, which was completely drenched in blood. One would wonder what was stored inside. Even though she was looking at two familiar faces now, Yikingtang did not let down her guard at all. Having journeyed through the mountain valley, she was well aware of how terrible this demon-filled area was. But both Qiu Chen and Qiu Xi were completely unharmed. Apart from their pale countenance, nothing seemed amiss. Brother Qiu Chen, Qiu Xi raised her head timidly to look at Qiu Chen. Qiu Chen shot her an impatient look. He suddenly reached out and smacked Qiu Xi to the ground. "You fool! Go ahead and die here if you want to. But don't drag me down with you." Sprawled down on the ground, Qiu Xi looked very pathetic as she stayed where she was. Yikingtang couldn't help frowning at this familiar scene. She really didn't understand why Qiu Chen always treated Qiu Xi in this cruel manner. Weren't they family members? But this scene alleviated some of Yikingtang's wariness. She was still considering whether to ally herself with them, when Qiu Xi suddenly gave a wide grin as she chuckled. Ha ha ha, that laughter was very eerie. There were no signs of a young girl's shyness and spirit, but was instead filled with a creepy malevolence. Qiu Chen climbed to her feet and reached out to grab Qiu Chen's arm. She tilted her head and smiled even wider. Her lips had split all the way up to her ears. It was like someone had slashed her face in half along her lips. "Qiu Chen, brother, don't leave me behind." Instead of a tidy row of human teeth between those lips, it was filled with the sharp, jagged fangs of a beast. A blood-red tongue drooped down from Qiu Si's mouth, much longer than any normal human being's. Qiu Chen's originally impatient expression also faded away to give rise to a malicious smile. The corners of his lips split open the same way as Qiu Si's, revealing a same set of razor-sharp teeth and long, blood-red tongue. That long tongue reached out and licked the still wet blood off Qiu Si's face. Yikingtang watched this entire scene in shock. She had been about to step out to reveal herself. But now, there was no way she was moving a single inch. Almost immediately, Yikingtang's eyes landed on the large, blood-soaked sack on the ground. The sack wriggled as if it contained something alive. Piteous whimpering could be heard from it. Qiu Chen appeared to be angered by that whimpering. He suddenly raised one hand and sharp claws grew out of his long, slender fingers. Then he stabbed the sack with those claws. A blood-curdling cry rang out. Qiu Chen grinned happily, before he twisted his claws and fresh blood pooled out of that sack. Those piteous whimpers were replaced by wretched wails. Chapter 1749, Fiendish Demon, 2 Rip. Qiu Chen's sharp claws ripped through the sack and pulled out the bloodied mess inside. At this point, Enchanting finally saw clearly what was inside that sack. The sight nearly made her want to throw up. It was a person who had been completely skinned. The person's entire body was a mess of bright pink exposed flesh covered in fresh blood. Qiu Chen, brother. Qiu Chen, brother, that skinned person was being held in midair by Qiu Chen's sharp claws. Fresh blood dripped down onto Qiu Chen, even as bloodied tears streamed down the person's cheeks. Those eyes. That familiar voice. Enchanting was taken aback. It was Qiu Xi. Looking at the skinned Qiu Xi and then at the grinning Qiu Xi, Enchanting could deduce what had happened to Qiu Xi and Qiu Chen. Legend had it that fiendish demons loved to torture. They especially loved to torture humans, who were full of feelings and emotions. This was also why Enchanting was so worried about being discovered. Qiu Xi and Qiu Chen had probably accidentally stumbled into this mountain valley and were discovered by the fiendish demons. The two humans had been captured and skinned, and their skins were now being worn by the demons. Enchanting's stomach churned. Stop acting dead. I want to continue playing. The fiendish demon draped in Qiu Xi's skin whined. They can't die, they can never die. The demon wearing Qiu Chen's skin grinned an ear-splitting grin. He stared at the crying Qiu Xi, admiring her fearful and despairing expression as he slowly twisted his sharp claws deeper into her, grinding up her insides bit by bit. To a fiendish demon, a human's reaction to torture was the most wonderful thing in the world. So fearful, so easily breakable and powerless under their might. Just as the two fiendish demons were enjoying themselves, several black figures suddenly darted out of the trees. They were a group of malevolent-looking fiendish demons. Noticing the two demons clad in human skin, they immediately howled. Startled, the two fiendish demons emitted their own demonic cries. It was clear that the new group of fiendish demons were not from the same camp as the first two. The bunch of them immediately engaged in a fierce battle. The new group of fiendish demons were all extremely powerful and they outnumbered the first two. Within seconds, those two fiendish demons were slaughtered and the victors peeled off their human skins and kept them away. Thereafter, they immediately started feasting on the dead demon's flesh. After finishing their meal, they discovered the bloodied Qiu Xi by the waterfall. Skewering her with their sharp claws, they picked her up and left the place. In the end, all that was left by the waterfall was a pool of blood and the remains of those two fiendish demons. Once she made sure that the fiendish demons had left, Enchanting slowly stood up after making sure that the aura exuded by those demons had also faded away. What she witnessed earlier turned her stomach inside out. She didn't know Qiu Xi well, but seeing a live human being played and tortured in this manner by the fiendish demons, the whole experience weighed so heavily on her that she found it hard to breathe. It was obvious that the new group of fiendish demons would not be kind to Qiu Xi. It would be a new round of torture for her. Chapter 1750, Fiendish Demon, 3. If she was discovered, Enchanting would suffer the same terrible fate as Qiu Xi. Qiu Xi was much more powerful than Enchanting. Although she was not that highly ranked in this year's martial arts championship, Enchanting had seen Qiu Xi in battle. Among the top 10, Bailey she was probably the only one who could defeat Qiu Xi. But even the mighty Qiu Xi appeared as weak as an ant in front of those fiendish demons, and ended up a torture victim in their hands. In fact, even a paragon-level practitioner would be useless against the strength and viciousness of these fiendish demons. As she pondered this, Enchanting felt that it was truly a miracle for her to have journeyed thus far into this mountain valley. This valley was completely different from the frozen ice fields. It was like an entirely different world of its own. All those monsters that roamed the frozen ice fields were nowhere to be seen here. Over here. It seemed like only the fiendish demons existed. Enchanting steadied herself. She slowly made her way to the waterfall and gazed down at the blood at her feet. She was feeling very terrible about Chio's fate but was helpless against it. All the creatures inside this mystic realm were powerful beyond belief. The so-called elite in their central mainland were as insignificant as a bunch of ants, just waiting to be squashed. It had never been more difficult just to stay alive. Just as Enchanting was about to leave, she heard a noise from some undergrowth nearby. She instinctively turned to look. She was completely thunderstruck by what she saw. Behind that undergrowth was the corpse of a fiendish demon. The demon appeared to have died not long ago, as its blood had yet to curdle. Beside the corpse were tiny pieces of minced-up meat. It was human flesh. There was a large quantity of it, spread across the ground. Originally, Enchanting had found it strange why she only saw Chio Ci, but didn't see any traces of Chio Chin. Now, Enchanting knew where Chio Chin was. Enchanting frowned as she looked at the mound of minced meat. Fiendish demons were addicted to torturing and killing humans. Chio Chen had been their first target, while Chio Ci was their second. Enchanting took a deep breath. Even though Chio Chen had already been minced up, she knew his consciousness was still around. Every single bit of flesh was able to feel pain and transmit it to his soul. After being skinned and his flesh sliced off, all that was left of Chio Chen was a pile of white bones, discarded carelessly amongst some trees at the side. It would not be long before his flesh disintegrated into the soil, and his consciousness relegated to that remaining pile of bones. But most of those bones had already been trampled and crushed. With a soft sigh, Enchanting reached out and picked up all the pieces of bone that she could find. Even so, there were still nearly half of the pieces missing, including his skull. By the end, her hands were stained with blood and she gazed down at them. Chio Chen and Chio Ci's terrible fate was like a foreboding premonition to her own. She slowly turned toward the fiendish demon corpse lying by the side. That fiendish demon must have been killed by the earlier two demons. But they were too engrossed in torturing their new playthings and didn't get around to consuming the body yet. An idea suddenly came to Enchanting. Chapter 1751, Camouflage. 1. Enchanting immediately put Little Heavenly Demon and Little White Tiger down and drew out her dagger. Without any hesitation, she peeled off the skin of the dead fiendish demon. Purple blood oozed out of the demon's wounds, bringing with it the unique stench of a fiendish demon. Even so, Enchanting did not turn up her nose at it. She spread the demon blood all over her body. That blood had a rather strange characteristic. It disappeared from her body after some time, but that demon smell remained. Little White Tiger sniffed at her. If it had not seen what Enchanting just did, the smell alone was enough to convince it that she was a fiendish demon. How is it? Enchanting asked Little White Tiger. You smell exactly like a fiendish demon, Little White Tiger answered truthfully. Enchanting heaved a sigh of relief. She got this idea from seeing those demons wearing Chio Chen and Chio Ci's skins. Although she had eaten the ore-masking elixir, a fiendish demon's sense of smell was very fine. They would be able to detect her human scent up close. There were countless fiendish demons in this mountain valley, battling one another day after day. It was impossible for Enchanting to pass through this valley without encountering any demons. Since it was unavoidable, the only solution she could think of was to make those fiendish demons think she was one of them. Fiendish demons love to torture and kill humans, as well as wear their skins. In addition, many fiendish demons love to assume the appearance of all sorts of different monsters. As a result, fiendish demons recognize their own kind by scent and not by physical appearance. Enchanting rubbed the fiendish demon blood all over her body. The blood quickly disappeared after coming into contact with her own skin, making it easy for Enchanting to conceal herself. In this way, if other fiendish demons discovered Enchanting, they would think she was one of them after smelling her scent. Still, Enchanting did not dare to be careless. She rubbed the blood all over herself several times, and repeatedly asked Little White Tiger to confirm that she smelled exactly like a fiendish demon. Only then was she finally assured. Just in case, she also rubbed the blood all over Little White Tiger and Little Heavenly Demon. After being practically smothered in it, Little White Tiger nearly fainted from the strong scent of the fiendish demon blood. Even after finishing all those preparations, Enchanting still acted very cautiously. From afar, she spotted a bunch of fiendish demons doing battle. Previously, she would have maintained a wide distance and skirted around them. However, she wanted to test out her idea, and so she secretly moved closer to the group. Enchanting grew increasingly vigilant with every step taken. Her eyes were fixed upon those fiendish demons. When she was within 10 meters of the group, she found that those demons still had not discovered her presence. Only then did Enchanting heave a sigh of relief. A 10-meter range was enough to let all the fiendish demons detect her smell. Since they had no reaction, it must mean that her human scent had been successfully concealed. It must be pointed out that fiendish demons liked humans very much. Humans were one of the best playthings for them, and they would never give up the chance to catch and keep one. Just like Chio Ci. It also explained why they had overlooked the corpse of the fiendish demon in favor of torturing Chio Ci. Enchanting couldn't help sighing again at the thought of Chio Ci. Who knew how many more human lives this eerie mystic realm would take? Enchanting herself had just barely managed to hold on to her own. After confirming that her camouflage was successful, Enchanting finally gathered her courage and continued her journey through the valley, with Little White Tiger and the sleeping Little Heavenly Demon in her arms. Chapter 1752, Camouflage, 2. Over the past few days, Enchanting had been treading extremely carefully through the mountain valley as she was afraid of revealing herself. As a result, she had barely moved much further from the entrance. Now that she was under the camouflage of a fiendish demon's blood, Enchanting progressed a little faster, but the further she ventured into the valley, the more shocked she was. Large patches of blood and numerous fiendish demons could be seen everywhere. Apart from the fiendish demons, there were all sorts of strange creatures inside the mountain valley. Enchanting had never seen such creatures before. Although she had this camouflage, Enchanting still tried her best to avoid the fiendish demons. The valley was so extensive that it was difficult to tell which direction was the exit. A thick demonic aura enveloped the whole mountain valley, such that it was dark and gloomy all the time. Light barely penetrated the entirety of the area, and it was difficult to ascertain whether it was daytime or night. As a result, it was challenging to mark the passing of time. Since they had entered the mountain valley, Little Heavenly Demon had been unconscious, and Enchanting couldn't help feeling somewhat worried. Luckily, apart from the fact that it was sleeping all the time, its other vital signs appeared normal. As they made their way through the valley, Enchanting heard a commotion happening somewhere in front. She surveyed the area and saw a forked pathway ahead. A ball of flesh the size of a small hill was blocking one of the pathways. The ball of flesh was completely smooth and round, without any head or tail. It looked soft and tender, and as pink as a pig. Several fiendish demons were surrounding the ball of flesh. They drew long scratches across the ball with their sharp claws. The ball shivered all over as it charged about, trying to escape its debacle. Enchanting hid in the shadows, scanning the scene before her. She then decided to follow the other pathway. There were plenty of monsters in this valley. She frequently witnessed fiendish demons hunting some of those monsters. Enchanting had already seen that ball-shaped monster several times before. It was rather large and quite strong. But it was still no match for the fiendish demons, and was frequently hunted down by them for food. Apart from some of the more powerful monsters, most of the monsters in this valley ended up as hunted prey for the fiendish demons. The fiendish demons possessed ravenous appetites. Since they would consume their own kind without any hesitation, it was only natural they would do the same to other species. Enchanting had just turned to enter the other pathway, when one of the fiendish demons surrounding the ball paused. It looked up and sniffed the air, as if it had detected something. Its comrades were focused on the ball and didn't notice its actions. But that fiendish demon seemed to have smelled something exciting. It narrowed its eyes and turned, no longer interested in killing that ball of flesh. Instead, it scurried over to the other pathway. Enchanting had always tried her best to avoid and hide from large groups of fiendish demons. But presently, she had let down her guard slightly as she hadn't seen any traces of the demons on this pathway. Just as Enchanting relaxed a little, a black figure suddenly scurried down from a cliff beside her. Enchanting's heart thumped heavily and instinctively struck a defensive pose. A fiendish demon had somehow scurried down from the side of a cliff. The demon was clinging onto the wall of the cliff with all four limbs, bearing its long red tongue and sharp teeth, which were dripping with thick drool. And the fiendish demon's eyes were fixed upon Enchanting. Chapter 1753, Camouflage, 3. Enchanting was startled by the sight of that fiendish demon. Had she been discovered? When she saw the crazed eyes upon her, Enchanting's heart had leaped to the back of her throat. These fiendish demons were mostly Emperor level while she was only a 4th heaven level. She was no match for them at all. At this point, the fiendish demon's eyes swiveled as its saliva dripped down from its tongue, emitting wafts of an evil stench. It suddenly jumped down from the wall and stood before Enchanting, stretching and contorting its hunched back and long limbs. A mighty aura radiated from its body. It adopted the pose of a predator eyeing its prey. A drop of cold sweat sprouted on Enchanting's temple. She had successfully camouflaged herself against all the other fiendish demons she encountered along the way. How did this particular demon manage to discover her? Enchanting immediately leaped into action. She did not dare to hesitate at all. Carrying Little White Tiger and Little Heavenly Demon, she fled. She was no match for a fiendish demon. If she was caught, she would be doomed. That fiendish demon was momentarily startled by Enchanting's sudden movement. But it quickly recovered itself and emitted a rageful howl. It was an earth-shattering howl, and following that, a powerful energy was launched straight at Enchanting. It all happened in less than a second. Enchanting felt like she had been struck by an entire mountain the moment that energy hit her. Before she had time to react, she was flying through the air from the force. She could feel a gush of blood surging up her throat as she landed. Gritting her teeth, she swallowed hard to hold back the blood. That fiendish demon was stunned when it saw Enchanting collapsing just from its howl. It then gave a mocking smile as it slowly stepped toward her. Its grotesque face was full of malevolence. "Eastern, trash, how dare you, come here," the fiendish demon's voice sounded very weird and creepy. It squatted down and gazed at Enchanting. The demon's saliva dripped down onto her face. The demon was momentarily taken aback. "Human, you actually have the smell of a human on you. You probably sliced off this human skin not long ago." The hairs at the back of Enchanting's neck stood on end. Her body had gone frozen stiff, she was unable to move an inch. The fiendish demon's words were a shock to her. What did it mean? Hadn't this demon recognized her identity as a human? What a beautiful piece of skin. "I will eat you, and then keep this skin for myself," the fiendish demon licked its lips as a greedy glint flashed across its eyes. It reached out long claws toward Enchanting's head, all ready to peel her skin off. An overwhelming sense of despondency fell over Enchanting. She was finally meeting her death here. Before the strength of this fiendish demon, she was too weak. But just as Enchanting resigned herself to her fate, the fiendish demon's face stiffened before contorting into a livid expression. It turned and howled. Before Enchanting could understand what was happening, she saw the fiendish demon give a sudden tremble before standing immobile on the spot. In the next second, a pair of sharp claws pierced through that demon and tore it in half. Chapter 1754, Encampment 1. Purple blood splattered all over Enchanting, dyeing her clothes a dark purple. Right before the blood covered her, she saw a long, slender figure. It was an eerily handsome man. He watched coldly and impassively as the fiendish demon's blood splashed all over. How could there be humans here? Enchanting was astounded. But before Enchanting could understand how this man managed to appear in front of her, she saw him bite into one of the dead fiendish demon's arms. Between those handsome lips were teeth as sharp as a demon's. The fiendish demon's arm was chewed into mush before the man swallowed it. He was a fiendish demon. Staring at the man, who was still chewing on the fiendish demon's arm, Enchanting suddenly came to a realization. This man standing before her was no human. He was just a fiendish demon wearing a human skin. Following the fiendish demon's death, the oppressive aura that Enchanting had felt also faded. She was finally able to stand up, but her heart was pounding hard. The fiendish demon she had faced earlier was very powerful, and this newcomer was even more so. He continued to chew on the dead demon's flesh, all the while keeping an impassive expression. Enchanting had just jumped from a boiling pot right into the fire. She did not feel relieved at all. The fiendish demon in human skin detected Enchanting's gaze. He frowned slightly and cast a disdainful glance in her direction. Although that glance was full of scorn and disdain, it didn't possess any intention to kill. Enchanting couldn't help feeling very puzzled. But she didn't dare to make any false moves. That fiendish demon noticed that Enchanting kept staring at him and increased the intensity and speed of his chewing. Useless trash, that fiendish demon insulted coldly. His voice was dripping with disdain, but without any enmity. Enchanting was increasingly confused. Could it be? This fiendish demon believed she was so weak that he wasn't worried about her escaping. You can watch all you want. I will not give you even the tiniest bit. The fiendish demon spoke up again after swallowing a mouthful of flesh. Give what? Enchanting was puzzled. Since you are so weak, you should have just remained in the eastern cave. Why have you come to the western territory? Do you have a death wish? How did our side come to have such a weakling like you? The fiendish demon was full of scorn. After swallowing the last bit of demon flesh, he stood up and wiped the traces of blood off his lips. A contemptuous frown was on his face as he studied Enchanting. Eastern territory. Western territory. What did he mean? Enchanting was full of questions, but she could feel that this fiendish demon had no intention of attacking her. Moreover, from his tone, it sounded like she was somehow linked to him. Recalling what the first fiendish demon said earlier, Enchanting was now aware that it attacked her not because it recognized her as a human. Thinking about the numerous battles she had witnessed as she journeyed through the mountain valley, Enchanting gradually came to a realization. Chapter 1755, Encampment 2. What are you still standing there in shock for? You want to run into those bastards from the west? Get lost, the fiendish demon snapped impatiently. Enchanting stood up straight as she started understanding what was going on around her. She had thought that it was normal how the fiendish demons in this valley were constantly fighting, but now felt that maybe that wasn't the case. Based on what this fiendish demon had said, the demons seemed to belong to different camps. The ones who had attacked her previously seemed to be from the western camp, while the one standing right in front of her seemed to be from the eastern camp. The fiendish demons all looked extremely different here, and the sheer number of them were shocking as well. There was no way they were able to differentiate members of the different camps based on looks alone. The only possibility was that they were doing it by smell, to differentiate their peers. The blood that Enchanting had smeared on herself previously was probably from a fiendish demon belonging to the eastern camp. Enchanting breathed a sigh of relief as her disguise hadn't been seen through. But she had underestimated the situation here. The fiendish demons here had split themselves up into camps. Even if they were all demons, they wouldn't hesitate to kill a demon from the other camp. Enchanting was currently in the Western Territory. The fiendish demons from the different camps were fighting constantly to gain more territory. To think that she had made such an unexpected mistake and wandered into enemy territory. Now she was alone as well and had caught the eye of this demon. If the fiendish demon in front of her hadn't thought that she was from their camp and ripped the other demon apart, Enchanting would have died such a wrong death. Looking at the haughty demon in front of her, Enchanting didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The fiendish demon was so powerful that they must look like trash in front of it. No wonder he stared at them in disgust. He was so close to calling them weaklings. Who let you come to the Western Territory? What a hindrance. Follow me back to the eastern cave at once. The fiendish demon in front of Enchanting hadn't realized that she wasn't one of them. He thought that like him, they were little demons wearing a human skin. Little demons were usually demons which had just been birthed. They were usually protected by the camps and weren't allowed to leave, so he had no idea why these rascals had come all the way here. Enchanting's heart fell as she heard his words. She thought that she had finally managed to escape and felt a sense of foreboding hearing that she was about to go back to the demon camp. However, she didn't dare to reveal herself here as she might die a horrible death. All right, Enchanting could only reply obediently, fearful that her cover would be blown. The fiendish demon had no patience at all and scooped Enchanting up by her collar. He frowned as he realized that she was holding on to two other creatures. What trash have you been eating? No wonder you're so weak. Stop eating these useless things in the future. Follow me into a few more fights and devour some demon blood so that you can become stronger. These things won't even be enough to fill you up. The fiendish demon had assumed that the little white tiger and the little heavenly demon were food that Enchanting had caught. Chapter 1756, Encampment 2, Enchanting nodded silently. Little White Tiger recognized the situation as well and didn't refute this. If he said anything different, they would definitely be massacred and devoured. The fiendish demon was extremely fast. Even on foot, his speed was much faster than Enchanting when she was flying. Even after spending many days in this valley, Enchanting was still quite clueless about it. Even though she had figured a few things out, it mostly still didn't make sense to her and she could only find out more carefully from this fiendish demon. The fiendish demon didn't suspect much as well and only thought they were clueless little demons that had just been born. There was no other reason why they would have been dumb enough to wander into the enemy territory to seek their death. He started explaining everything to them. Enchanting gradually began to understand more about the valley as the fiendish demon explained to her. In this valley, fiendish demons existed in the largest number. As for the other monsters, apart from a few fierce ones that even the demons didn't dare provoke easily, the others were all either their slaves or their food. The demons here didn't all belong to one group, the powerful demons were split into different camps. Even though they were of the same race, they fought daily to gain territory. The eastern camp was just one of the many groups of demons. There were more than 10 other teams in the valley, small and large, and they were all different. They had absolutely no mercy for demons of the other camps. As long as the demons found them, they would do whatever they could to kill them, then devour their bodies to strengthen themselves. The demons said all of this with a little impatience. All she had to do was stay put and not run around on her own, or no one would even know how she died. Enchanting could only take his scolding silently as she began to worry. Who knew if her disguise would hold up if she was brought to the demon camp? After a whole day's journey, they passed through a forest and were brought straight into the depths of the valley. But in a second, Enchanting was surrounded by countless demons. The demons all gathered together, filling the valley with a thick demonic aura. Enchanting spotted a few other creatures, but they were all chained-up slaves working fearfully for the demons. The moment the demon carrying Enchanting landed, he threw her aside. Demons from the cave swarmed over to greet the demon that had just returned. Some of them noticed Enchanting, who had been thrown to the side, and started sniffing them subconsciously. Enchanting felt her hairs stand up but maintained her neutral expression. Soon enough, the demons lost interest as they smelled a familiar smell on Enchanting. What happened? Didn't the general send you to the western camp to check out the situation there? Why are you back so fast? The fiendish demon in the man's skin grimaced as he looked at Enchanting in disgust. It's done. I'll report back to the general later. This little rascal ran into the western territory herself. She would have died and been devoured by the demons from the western camp if I hadn't been there. Hearing this, the demons all turned to look at Enchanting. They laughed as they saw the skin she was in. This little rascal has a pretty good skin. Where did you find this two-legged lamb? Take it off and let me try it someday, one of the demons said with a laugh. Two-legged lambs were what the demons called the humans. Enchanting was speechless. How could she possibly lend them her skin? Chapter 1757, Demon Cave 1. The demons mostly looked extremely grotesque. To them, their looks didn't matter since they respected the strong, but for some reason, one of their hobbies entailed wearing human skin. It was said that the demons derived joy from skinning humans whole and then wearing their skins. The bodies of the demons resembled humans in the first place, it was just that they were slightly larger. Once they put on the human skins, all they needed was slight disguise and they would be able to walk among humans undetected. If they swallowed a person's brain, they would inherit all their memories as well. In olden times when the demons ran rampant, they would often devour humans, put on their skins and mingle among other humans. They would wait for opportunities to attack other people, taking joy in the fear on their faces as they realized that the person was already dead. With the strength of the demons, they could slaughter cities just by lifting one finger. But they delighted in inciting fear and anxiety of the lowly humans. In the eastern cave, Enchanting saw many demons in human skins. They were male and female, young and old, and some even looked familiar to her. She had seen the faces of these legendary men in her previous life when she had entered the second domain. These powerful men had later disappeared and people had assumed that they had simply gone into hiding. But now that she thought of it, they must have wandered into this cursed mystic realm like all those from the second domain before them, and ended up becoming the playthings of these fiendish demons. In the end, death was not the worst that a person could face. What was worse was not being able to die even when they wanted to. Enchanting felt her heart sink as she thought of Chiu Ci, who had been dragged off earlier. Her eyes swept around, but she didn't see anyone in Chiu Chin or Chiu Ci's skin. Perhaps the demons that had taken them were from another camp. But Enchanting had no energy to worry about anyone else right now. She was stuck right in the middle of the demons' camp, where their numbers far exceeded what she had seen in the valley. If her identity was revealed here, her skin would be peeled off in an instant. Yi Qingtang's heart sped up as she thought of this. Even though her expression remained neutral, she kept a constant eye on the demons around her, for fear that her identity would be revealed. But the fiendish demons around her had no interest in her at all and were only focused on the demon who had brought her back. A few of them merely swiped at her and some of them were interested in her human skin. The skins of the two-legged lambs were very popular among the demons, especially in this valley where humans rarely appeared. "Hey, so how is it? Let me try on the skin." The demon beside her was extremely persistent and lifted its hand to push Yi Qingtang. She almost spat out blood with that slap. Only God knew how strong these demons were. Yi Qingtang swallowed the blood in her throat. She was lucky that they thought she was in a human skin as blood, and the demons just thought that her skin was soaked in blood and didn't take much notice of it. Chapter 1758, Demon Cave, 2, Forget it. Look at how small the skin is. Only such a small demon can wear it. It'll rip if you try to wear it. The demon who had brought Yi Qingtang back was evidently a master at wearing human skin. Still, the persistent demon remained unsatisfied and he reached out to pinch Yi Qingtang's supple skin again. It was extremely strong and almost took away a part of Yi Qingtang's flesh. Stop saying these useless things. The West Side has been very restless lately. I've fought with them quite a few times recently with no clear winner in the end, so you'd better be careful. I don't think they're going to give up so easily. The demon who had brought Yi Qingtang back turned serious as the other demons' expressions darkened slightly and they stopped talking nonsense. They began talking about the matter regarding the camps. As Yi Qingtang stood there tensely, the demons pushed her aside so that she could look for demons her own age in the cave. She was so weak that they didn't bother with speaking to her. Yi Qingtang was chased away like livestock, but she didn't feel offended at all. Instead, she breathed a sigh of relief. A group of demons had been summoned so suddenly, but none of them had realized her true identity. Her disguise must have fooled their sense of smell for now. She got bolder as she realized this and her wary gaze relaxed. This was the camp of the eastern demons. There was a huge cave in the deep of the valley which was so dark no one could make anything out. Many demons gathered outside the cave with their hands full of fresh blood and flesh. It didn't look like it belonged to humans or demons and looked like flesh from the monster. Yi Qingtang walked over to the cave and found a group of smaller and weaker-looking demons at the entrance. These demons were about as tall as a 10 to 15-year-old child. Their bodies were thinner as well and their features were not yet as grotesque. This place was filled with demons and their skins were either brown or gray, but the little fiendish demons had lighter skin and didn't look as terrifying. If Yi Qingtang's guess was right, these better-looking demons were the little fiendish demons the other demon had been talking about. At this moment, the little fiendish demons were gathered together and chowing down on the flesh they were holding. They looked extremely timid as well, their gazes cautious as they looked at the adult demons around them. Demons ate their own kind too. Since they respected the strong and the little fiendish demons had yet to increase their strength, they were nothing but trash in front of these adult demons. If they were to be stupid enough to anger an adult demon, they might just be devoured. The demons looked at Yi Qingtang with awe as she walked over, unlike the adult demons who disregarded her. Great Sage, a small demon looked nervously at the approaching Yi Qingtang, its heart filled with fear. Great Sage was what the demons called powerful demons. It was akin to the human's version of master. When Yi Qingtang heard the little fiendish demon call her Great Sage, she stiffened. Great Sage, would you like to eat? A few small demons looked at Yi Qingtang whom they thought was in human skin. They were extremely afraid, and took from the pile of meat the freshest piece which they presented to Yi Qingtang. Chapter 1759, Demon Cave, 3. Used to the looks of disdain she had been receiving from the older demons, she was slightly confused as she saw the looks of fear in the young demons' faces. It was just that. Why were they so afraid of her? Enchanting was a little uneasy but quickly understood the situation as she followed the young demon's gazes and took a good look at herself. Human skins were extremely popular among the demons and only a few older demons had the right to wear them. How could these young demons who didn't even leave the camp ever get a human skin? Thus, these demons had mistaken Enchanting for the older demons who wore human skin. Enchanting's heart settled after she figured this out. In fact, not to mention the adult demons, defeating the top 10 of the martial arts championship would be like child's play to the young demons. Forget it. Enchanting rejected the little fiendish demon's offering, feeling slightly appalled. There was no way she could stomach that piece of bloody meat. Even though Enchanting rejected them politely, this only made them even more anxious. Their eyes filled with fear as they looked at Enchanting. We did not mean to offend you, great sage. Please spare us. It's all our fault. Great sage, how could we let you eat the lowly flesh of a Mongolian monster? The young demons were almost in tears. They were mere ants in the eyes of the adult demons. Had they not been in the same clan and camp, they would have been completely devoured. Not even their bones would have been spared. That said, they would still be eaten if they ever offended an adult demon. Mongolian monster. Enchanting's lips twitched a little. It was a monster of the paragon level. A single blow from it would easily kill Enchanting. Enchanting was struck with the realization that she was right at the bottom of the food chain here. Even the food that the little demons ate was much stronger than her. You over there. Bring the earth fire lizards from the cave over with them. The great general wants to eat them today, a demon said as he walked out of the cave and looked at the little demons, then at Enchanting they had treated her like an adult demon as well. Earth fire lizards. Enchanting almost spat out blood again as she heard this. Earth fire lizards were extremely ferocious creatures which could destroy entire countries. One had appeared in the central mainland 100 years ago. It had destroyed an entire country, attracting the attention of the surrounding dynasties. They had only killed the earth fire lizard after sacrificing almost 1 million soldiers. And it was rumored that that earth fire lizard had only been a cub. The little demons had nothing else to say. They had just been worried over how to make up for their mistake of offending the adult demons. Now that they had been given an order, they stood obediently in front of Enchanting. Enchanting had no idea where the earth fire lizards were. Looking at the little demons gazing at her fearfully, she could only lie and say, "All right, follow me." The little demons quickly nodded profusely. Afraid to let the great sage lead the way for them, they all ran in front, leading her forward cautiously. Though Enchanting was feeling extremely helpless and miserable, she made sure to maintain her cold expression. Chapter 1760, False Bravado, 1. The pit was further down from the fiendish demon cave. Those little fiendish demons walked in front and Enchanting followed behind them. There was no telling how deep the cave was. Enchanting saw many broken bones, as well as some rotting bits of flesh. A strong evil stench permeated the entire cave, the smell so intense that the sensitive little white tiger was nearly fainting from it. It kept gagging from the smell. It was then that several little fiendish demons walking beside Enchanting noticed the two things nestled inside her arms. One of them was pitch black and looked like a baby dragon, while the other was white and furry. You are truly the great sage. We seldom see such exotic food here. We have only heard other great sages mention about dragons. We heard that they are very rare and very delicious. And great sage managed to obtain the sweetest and most tender of them all, a baby dragon. You are indeed formidable. One of the little fiendish demons was full of respect and adoration. A great sage who was able to obtain a rare baby dragon must be very powerful indeed. The corners of Enchanting's lips twitched slightly as she gazed at the sleeping little heavenly demon. Enchanting wouldn't be caught in this state if little heavenly demon was awake now. Soon enough, they arrived at the pit. Enchanting could feel an intense heat emanating from somewhere deep within. Gazing into the darkness, she saw many huge creatures chained to the floor, unable to move. Those huge eyes stared back at her through the shadows. They were giant earth-fire lizards. Covered in deep red scales, their tremendous bodies were like mountains. Even from where she was standing, Enchanting could already feel the powerful heat radiating from the bodies. According to legend, the baby earth-fire lizard in the central mainland was over a dozen meters tall. Meanwhile, these earth-fire lizards in front of Enchanting were hundreds of meters in height. It was clear just how big these creatures could become. The appearance of an adult earth-fire lizard on central mainland would only spell a major disaster. But now, these powerful and destructive earth-fire lizards had been chained to the ground. Those little fiendish demons displayed no fear at all toward the creatures. To them, the earth-fire lizards were like a flock of sheep waiting to be slaughtered. Enchanting was the only one who was shaken. "Great sage, please wait a moment. We will settle this minor matter. We won't trouble the great sage over this," the group of little fiendish demons said respectfully. It would be easy for an emperor-level adult fiendish demon to handle these ferocious earth-fire lizards. Meanwhile, the fourth heaven-level Enchanting could barely hold back her tears when faced with these massive creatures. But now, wasn't she supposed to be an all-powerful adult fiendish demon in the eyes of these little demons? Enchanting immediately put on an imperious facade and nodded. "Hurry up. Don't waste my time." As long as they didn't ask her to take action. At Enchanting's command, those little fiendish demons rallied and pounced toward those earth-fire lizards. Those little demons had behaved so timidly in front of Enchanting, but they now displayed the ferocity of their kind when dealing with the earth-fire lizards. They were just skinny little things but were able to crack open the skulls of the earth-fire lizards with just one punch. Those lizards did not even have the strength to resist, but just died on the spot. Chapter 1761, False Bravado. 2-3 earth-fire lizards were killed in this manner, their heads bashed and without even a chance to retaliate. The little fiendish demons broke the thick chains and dragged the dead earth-fire lizards from the pit. "Great sage, those little fiendish demons who had attacked those earth-fire lizards so ferociously were now as meek as mice toward Enchanting." Enchanting shivered on the inside as she observed those earth-fire lizards who had their skulls crushed to a pulp. The fierce reputation of the fiendish demons were not for nothing. The earth-fire lizard's brain is the freshest and tastiest. "Why did you do that?" Enchanting suppressed the shock in her heart and raised her brows in displeasure. Those little fiendish demons shivered like willows in the wind at Enchanting's cold stare. "Great sage, have mercy." They behaved as if Enchanting intended to eat them. Enchanting maintained her cold expression. "I will spare you this time." Those little fiendish demons immediately acted like they had just received a great gift. They thanked Enchanting profusely and cautiously followed a few steps behind her as they left the pit. Meanwhile, Enchanting heaved a secret sigh of relief the moment she turned her head. "You truly know how to act." Little White Tiger murmured as it observed Enchanting's false bravado. "All right, I won't act anymore. Let's just throw ourselves at the mercy of these fiendish demons." Enchanting smirked. She couldn't even defeat the prey of these fiendish demons. It would be suicide to try and fight an adult fiendish demon, or even a baby one. Little White Tiger's face seemed to blanch and immediately stopped its teasing. No, you'd better continue your act." It looks like your skin is still pretty useful. Without this human skin, Enchanting would be exposed no matter how much demon blood she spread on herself. The earth-fire lizards were sent into the cave. Enchanting could not see what was deep within, but she knew there must be extremely powerful fiendish demons inside. Even from standing at the entrance of the cave, she could feel their mighty aura. After finishing their task, the little fiendish demons gathered together to eat. They desperately wished to grow bigger and become adult fiendish demons, to possess powerful abilities and lose the fear of being eaten. Enchanting had been here for a day and none of the demons discovered her identity. It was only then that she allowed herself to relax a little. Most of the fiendish demons went to sleep as night fell over the mountain valley. Enchanting didn't dare to sleep. She was afraid of being exposed while sleeping. Consequently, she found a quiet spot near the entrance and sat down cross-legged. After making sure there were no fiendish demons around, she placed Little White Tiger on the ground and had it keep watch while she cultivated. It would not be easy to sneak away under the watchful eyes of those little fiendish demons. Due to the war between the various factions, most of the fiendish demons went out in pairs and groups. Enchanting tried to leave once during the afternoon, but before she had gone far, she was discovered by a few other demons who asked her where she was going. They were going to accompany her in case she encountered demons from the other factions. Enchanting quickly threw out a few excuses before turning back. She knew that it would not be that easy to leave this fiendish demon camp. There were also a good number of fiendish demons guarding the entrance of the camp. Since she couldn't leave, Enchanting had no choice but to try and cultivate while most of the demons were sleeping. In such a dangerous place, every bit of extra power counted. Chapter 1762, False Bravado, 3. After entering the mystic realm, Enchanting had encountered danger after danger, barely having the time to escape with her life each time. She managed to enjoy a few peaceful days after meeting Little Heavenly Demon, but she could not cultivate then as her body had yet to fully recover. This was the first time she managed to cultivate since entering the mystic realm. She might have been mistaken, but Enchanting could feel a distinct warmth growing within her body as she cultivated. The surrounding energy entering her body was not like the usual spirit energy, but felt like a totally different kind of power. This power was intense but very unfamiliar to Enchanting. She tried to refine this energy, and although it was a bit difficult, she still managed to absorb it eventually. Enchanting was amazed at this discovery. She then continued to focus on cultivating. Perhaps this unusual power originated from this mystic realm. As Enchanting cultivated, it was like a blazing flame had been lit within her body. It spread out from the inside, as if she was immersed in a raging fire but was completely unharmed by it. Enchanting's bones and muscles seemed to be affected by the high temperature. A peculiar sensation washed over her physical body. As the time passed, she did not know how long she had been cultivating. She suddenly felt a pain at her wrist and opened her eyes in alarm. Little White Tiger was biting her wrist and shooting her a significant look. It was only then that Enchanting realized it was already daylight. All the fiendish demons around her were starting to awaken. Enchanting immediately stopped her cultivation. The entire cave was bustling with activity. Large groups of fiendish demons paired up to venture out of the camp. Overhearing the conversations of some demons, Enchanting knew that these fiendish demons were going into the valley to battle the other factions over territory. This happened every day and was nothing unusual to the fiendish demons. The demons from the west region are making a lot of noise. We will destroy them. One of the fiendish demons cracked its knuckles as it exited the cave. It glanced at Enchanting and then at the group of little fiendish demons. It said disdainfully, "We have been in battle over the past few days. You bunch of useless fools had better buck up. Bring them to survey our surroundings and report on the situation. The adult fiendish demon could feel that Enchanting was not that powerful. As a result, it relegated her to perform simple scouting duties with the little fiendish demons. Enchanting didn't object. Instead, she felt relieved. She would have no chance of escaping if she had to tag along with the adult fiendish demons. But with this bunch of little demons, she might have a good chance of making a getaway. The bunch of little fiendish demons seldom got the opportunity to leave the camp. Having finally received a mission, they immediately gathered behind Enchanting, standing proud and erect like brave soldiers. Meanwhile, Enchanting picked up Little White Tiger and Little Heavenly Demon. Looking at the bunch of little demons, she commanded coldly, "You must obey everything I say the moment we leave the camp. I will devour anyone who dares to fool around." Her manner was extremely domineering. The bunch of little fiendish demons were so scared that they just nodded obediently. After all, it was an honor to be able to go on a mission with the great sage. They would definitely obey her every command. Enchanting was very satisfied with their reactions. Inside her mind, she started to plan how she was going to separate herself from the little fiendish demons. She would then wash off the demon blood from her body and make her great escape. Chapter 1763, Impossible to Escape, 1. As the little fiendish demons had limited battle abilities, they would be dismembered immediately if they were to participate in the war. As a result, the camp usually assigned them one of the safer tasks. Enchanting led the bunch of little fiendish demons out of the cave. Since being led here, Enchanting already had the notion of escaping. As a result, she had observed the surroundings carefully on the way to the camp. Mountain ranges surrounded the eastern fiendish demon camp. There were also numerous patches of forests here and there, very suitable for hiding. Enchanting seemed to be searching for something when she entered one of the forests. The little fiendish demons were following close behind her and they started to look nervous as they surveyed their surroundings. It wasn't that they were cowardly, but that their abilities were as good as nothing when compared to an adult fiendish demon. As a result, even just scouting the surroundings of their camp was a great danger to them. But luckily, they would be led by an adult fiendish demon whenever they went out scouting. The little fiendish demons felt very assured when they looked at Enchanting. Little did they know that she was constantly thinking of how to escape. Their surroundings were relatively safe and secure as they were still near the eastern fiendish demon main camp. Enchanting did not discover any traces of other demons after making one full round. But she heard the sounds of a stream. Enchanting immediately saw her chance to escape. She commanded the little fiendish demons to scout out an area which was in the opposite direction to the stream. The little fiendish demons did not dare to question the great sage's command, and obediently went forth to scout. Taking advantage of their absence, Enchanting immediately ran toward the stream. She soon found a small stream in the midst of the forest. The water was very clear and there were no other creatures around it. Enchanting heaved a sigh of relief. Enchanting had smeared demon blood all over her body in an attempt to prevent them from discovering her identity as a human. But after finding out about the fierce battle between the different demon factions, she suddenly realized it was better to wash the scent of the fiendish demon off her body. At the very most, she would just have to eat a few more elixirs to mask her own scent and then make a big detour to skirt around the regions crowded with demons. That would be better than encountering fiendish demons from other factions and dying in their hands. After putting down Little White Tiger and Little Heavenly Demon, Enchanting bent over to wash the demon blood off her body. Fiendish demon blood quickly became invisible after coming into contact with human skin. It could not be seen, but its scent remained for a long time. It could only be washed off with clear water. Enchanting had just taken off her clothes when she suddenly heard a wailing sound coming from somewhere nearby. It was a sharp, high-pitched noise, unlike the deep voice of an adult fiendish demon. Was it the bunch of little fiendish demons? Enchanting was startled. The sound came from nearby. Before Enchanting could ponder what was happening, several black figures suddenly emerged from some undergrowth. They headed straight toward her. What was going on? Enchanting's head spun. Within seconds, several malevolent-looking fiendish demons had appeared beside the stream. Enchanting's heart instantly sank to the bottom. There were at least 8 fiendish demons, and they were looking at Enchanting with an intense thirst to kill. Chapter 1764, Impossible to Escape, 2. Enchanting's mind was blown on seeing those fiendish demons. They were definitely not from the Eastern faction. Damn, so many. Little White Tiger was dumbstruck by the sight of those demons. Enchanting would be no match against even a single little fiendish demon, but she was now faced with 8 adults. She quickly picked up Little White Tiger and Little Heavenly Demon and turned to run in the opposite direction. All thoughts about washing off the demon blood on her had fled out the window. At a time like this, Enchanting didn't dare to hesitate for even a second. She never expected to encounter demons from other factions so close to the Eastern fiendish demon camp. If these fiendish demons had appeared just a little later, Enchanting might have already washed away the demon scent and gained a better chance at escaping. But now, the demon blood smeared all over her made her one big, giant target. Those fiendish demons just had to track her by that demon scent. The demons were way faster than Enchanting and instantly caught up with her. Was she going to die now? Enchanting's heart had leaped right up to the back of her throat. Her scalp went numb as she surveyed the 8 fiendish demons surrounding her. But just as Enchanting was scared stiff, numerous black figures scurried out from the nearby undergrowth. They gathered around Enchanting. Great Sage! Enchanting saw that it was the group of Eastern little fiendish demons whom she had diverted away. Those little demons were very scared, but they didn't run away. They stood before Enchanting and revealed their sharp claws, glaring vigilantly at the 8 adult fiendish demons. Those little fiendish demons had scouted the area according to Enchanting's instructions. They had initially felt it was a redundant action as no enemy demons would dare to come near their camp. Nevertheless, they still did it as Enchanting had commanded it. But unexpectedly, they had detected the scent of other demons during their scouting. Several of them had even been attacked. At this moment, they finally realized that the enemy had already invaded the area surrounding their camp. There were over a dozen little fiendish demons, but they were not fully grown and no match at all for those 8 adults. As a result, the shadow of death that enveloped Enchanting's heart did not completely dissipate. The 8 adult fiendish demons didn't show any signs of fear when those little demons appeared. Instead, their faces took on a greedy expression. Enchanting and those little demons were like a bunch of tasty lambs all ready for slaughter. The direness of the situation made Enchanting break out in cold sweat. She instinctively looked down at Little Heavenly Demon. Being surrounded by 8 adult fiendish demons, it was near impossible for her escape. Her only hope was Little Heavenly Demon, but it remained deep in slumber. Great Sage, hurry up and leave. Go tell the other great sages that we are under enemy attack. One of the little fiendish demons suppressed its own fear as it muttered in a low voice. Enchanting was stunned. She could clearly see how scared these little fiendish demons were of the adults. Nevertheless, they didn't flee but chose to soldier on. However, Enchanting wouldn't be able to flee even if she wanted to. Those 8 adult fiendish demons would never let a single one of them escape. Leave. Not so easy. One of the adult fiendish demons revealed its sharp fangs as it narrowed its eyes at Enchanting and the little fiendish demons. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.